All right, so let's talk about Metaobjects. They sound quite similar to Metafields, but while Metafields are used to extend existing models in Shopify, Metaobjects allow us to create completely new ones. Metaobjects were first announced as part of the Shopify Winter 2023 edition. To be honest, not a lot of fuss was made about them, but for some users, I'm sure it would have been so exciting to see that you can now create your own objects in Shopify. So let's take a deeper look at Shopify Metaobjects. We'll run through an example, talk about how Metaobjects are different from Metafields, and finally look at the numerous areas of our online store where we can bring in this new Metaobject data. All right, so to start us off, let's look at what data models come standard with Shopify so that we can get a context of the different data models. Okay, so we've of course got the product object, the collection object, the page object, article, blog, cart, customer, search. These are the ones at least that we're able to view on the front end via templates within our theme. We can view a product object, for example, via the path products / followed by the handle of the product we want to view. Within this product object, we have built-in fields that we can edit in the admin, and those dynamic values, of course, get shown to the end user on the front end. Metafields then allowed us to add our own custom fields to models like the product object. So now with Metafields, you can create a custom field in your store settings. You can add a value to that field the same way you would add values to the original fields on the object, and you can return that value in Shopify Liquid via the product object. I've talked about Metafields in 3 different videos leading up to this one, so if you want to dive deeper into Metafields, check out those ones. But basically, Metafields are custom fields set on pre-existing objects. Metaobjects, on the other hand, are completely new data models that we can create ourselves. So to give you an example, we could create a person object, and this person could have a name and a bio, and this person object could be specifically the creator of certain products. So we could create this creator object, and then we could also add a products field on the creator object to link the products that this creator has created. So now, not only do we have a newly created object, we've been able to link it to existing objects within our store. So hopefully that makes it clear what Metaobjects are and how they differ from Metafields. With this out of the way, let's now dive deep into the computer and take a look at how we can create this example within our Shopify store. All right, so now that I'm in my development store, let's go right ahead and create our new Metaobject. Okay, so I'm going to click over into content over here, which now holds our Metaobjects and our files. I created a person Metaobject in the last video on Metafields to demonstrate how we could put Metaobjects into Metafields. So you can see here, we have one entry in one definition. What I want to do is create a completely new definition for creator. So I'm going to click here to add definition. It actually takes me into my settings area, so I can reach the same by going into custom data in our store settings. And here I'm going to call this metafield or Metaobject definition creator. Now I can set my fields. So I'm going to give this creator a name. Pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be a single value. I can type in a description here, name of the creator, but yeah, pretty self-explanatory. So I'm just going to add that. Then I'm going to give this creator a bio. So I'm going to use a multi-line text bio right there. And then what I'm also going to do is give it an image. And the way we do that is via file. I'm going to call this photo. And as you can see here, the key gets automatically created, but we can edit that as well. I'm just going to leave that as photo. And here we can accept all file types, or we can accept specific file types, because this is going to be specifically a photo and it's going to expect an image. I'm going to uncheck videos here. All right, I'm going to click add. Just move that. We can rearrange these as much as we want. So I'm going to have photo, name, bio, And then the one that's perhaps the most interesting is I'm going to have a list of products, and these list of products are going to be the products that the creator has created. So I'm going to call this creator of, and then literally type in the list of products that this creator has created. All right, I'll click add, and now we can hit save, and our meta object definition has been created. Now that we've created a meta object definition, we need to start adding entries. So I'm going to click here to shortcut my way to adding an entry. And you can see here all the fields that we have set up beforehand. It's kind of like any other object that you edit in Shopify, whether it be a product or a collection. We've just created our own with our own custom fields. So pretty exciting stuff. This has never before been possible in Shopify. All right, so I'm going to now populate my list of creators. So I've got a folder on my computer called Metaobject Images, and I've put in a few artists here, crossover artists. So Kanye, who's of course a musical artist, but has also created shoes as well. This is Kanye West. And let me paste a bio in here: American rapper, singer, songwriter, record producer, and fashion designer. Now, if I click creator of, I can select products within my store that he has created. So let's just say he created the hydrogen and the liquid snowboard. I'm using the sample data that comes automatically when we select to create a new development store with store data. And here you can see my object, just like a product or a collection, has a handle as well. And this gets auto-populated, but I can edit it if I want. So we can reference a particular meta object entry the same way we would reference a particular product or collection within our Shopify Liquid, which is really cool. So I'm going to hit save on that. And we've created our first entry. I'm going to add another entry here. The next one is going to be Michael Jordan. He also was the creator of a shoe. The reason why I chose these, by the way, is because the other store that I set this up on was a shoe shop. So I just thought of all the different famous people that have made shoes. But, you know, it's just an example. It doesn't really matter what we put here. This is just a proof of concept. So I'm going to say that he created the hidden snowboard and the multi-location snowboard. Hell, let's give him a third product just to show that, you know, we can put an infinite amount here. Handle is Michael Jordan. That's all good to me. And finally, would you believe that Pharrell Williams is also a fashion designer? So I have put him in here as well. Pharrell Williams, also known as simply Pharrell. Here's his bio, and let's say he created, don't want any overlap here, although we can do multi-managed and the complete snowboard. I'll add those and I'll hit save. That'll create a meta object with the handle of Pharrell Williams. Okay, so now we can go to meta objects and we can see all of our meta objects. We can filter via creator, and here you can see the list of creators that we now have. And from an admin perspective, from a backend perspective, that's as simple as it is to create meta object definitions and populate them with entries. In this next part of the video, I'm going to show you how you can code it into your theme using Shopify Liquid. If you head to my Skillshare repository on my GitHub account, you can find creators.liquid, which is a section that I've set up. It's not currently operational, but it's set up as a starting point for this video with some CSS. So I'm going to click on raw to grab the raw code, click Command A or press Command A to select all, and then Command C to copy. These are keyboard shortcuts on a Mac, not exactly sure on a Windows, but I basically just selected everything and copied it. And now what I'm going to do is head into our Dawn theme here, the live theme. Obviously, you don't want to do the live theme if you're working on an actual store, but this is a development store, so it doesn't really matter. And what I'm going to do is go into sections, add a new section, create a liquid section called creators. So basically just recreate the file name up here. And once I've done that, I'm going to then get rid of all that and then paste in my boilerplate code. There might be some errors here. No, there isn't. Okay, good. Because products and creators don't actually exist yet, so those are just placeholders. Okay, now that we have this creators section, we're going to need to load it into an alternative template. So I'm going to create that alternative template now. Let's start with creating a creators page. So I'm going to create a page and the template's going to be called creators. I'll hit done on that. And now that we've done that, I'm going to open this in a new tab. So I can keep this tab open here. Actually, one more thing I have to do before we use that template is change the type here to creators, which matches the file name of the section. And here I can leave the name of the section to main, or I can change this to creators to make it a bit more clear. And then I'm going to remove these settings because they relate to the main section, which we're not using anymore. So I'll hit save on that. And now you can see this page template is only loading in the creators section. So if I head over to my admin here, I go into my online store sales channel, go into pages. Here you can see the Metafields demo from the last video. I'll hit add page and then we will create this creators page. And here we will select creators as our alternative page template. All right, so that's done. Another quick note, I mentioned this in the last video, but it's a gotcha for a lot of people. You need to have that template created on your live theme for it to show up in that dropdown. So I just wanted to flag that once again. All right, so now, actually, I'm not going to go back here. I'm going to click view page, and now you can see if I inspect on it. Let's go into the main section. Here you can see the CSS and the beginnings of the HTML. So like I said, right here, if we look at this, creators doesn't exist. That's just a placeholder. What I'm gonna do is grab that list of creators from the Metaobject, and how I do that is Metaobjects are stored on the shop object. So I can just go shop, Metaobjects, and let's just have a look at our Metaobject definition again, just so we get this perfectly correct. Just went into settings, custom data, and you can see Metaobjects under Metafields. If I click on creator, you can see here that the type is creator. We could have called this creators or creator. Now, if we go over here, we're going to then do dot that type, so creators. We can also use square notation here to target that type as well, but it's a bit nicer to do it like this, creators. And the final thing we need to do is grab the values off that Metaobject. So we're going to do values there. All right. So now we're going to have a loop that loops through all of our creators. Let me just throw in one of the fields here so we can actually see this, and then I'll come back and finish it off. So now that we're looping through these, and in each iteration, we're creating a creator object, that creator object representing each entry in the array, I can then use the attributes that we've created, like name, to put in this creator title. And if I head back here, refresh, we should see that list coming through. It hasn't come through yet. Maybe I need to refresh again. No, so I've made a mistake here. Shop, Metaobjects, creators. I said creators, not creator. Okay, save. Refresh over here. Refresh again, and there we go. So we're getting the names, and it's saying creator of. Okay, so at least we're getting the names through. So let's fill this out a little bit more. The creator image. So what I'm going to do for this is just shortcut this by using the image tag filter in Shopify Liquid. So I'm going to say create a photo, which is the name of the field, and then just put the image tag filter on the end. Then I'm going to go into the creator paragraph here, and this is where we're going to put in creator bio. And then here for the list of products, obviously we're going to need to reference our creator object. And then I'm going to go into the name of the field. But this field is a list of products and almost acts the same as like a metafield in terms of syntax. For this to work, we actually have to put dot value at the end. Okay, so very similar to metafields, which we talked about in the last video. And then so within this loop, what I'm going to do is I'm looping through the products in the creator of array or the product list. And then I can grab the URL of the product like such, And then I'm going to grab the featured image of the product that we're currently looking at, and then just use the image tag filter to grab that image, and then product.title. All right, I'll hit save on that. And because I've got the CSS already created down here, it should come up looking pretty okay. All right, so there you have it. If I scroll down, looks like we're only getting 2 snowboards for Michael Jordan. I could have sworn we gave him 3 snowboards. Maybe I'm incorrect in that, or maybe one of them is sold out. Let me just double check that. So I'll go into Metaobjects here, Michael Jordan. It says 3 items. What's the one that's missing? Multi-location and 3P fulfilled, and the hidden. Maybe the hidden one is sold out or something. Let's have a look at it. I think right here, manage sales channels, it's not actually showing up on the online store. So that explains what it means by hidden. If I clicked this and I hit done and save and refresh over here, let's refresh a second time, a third time, and then there we go. You see the hidden snowboard. I might just to keep that holding true to its name, I will take that off the online store sales channel and remove it just from here. But you get the point. We can put as many items into that list as we want. And all of these are linked too. So if you look in the bottom right corner of my browser, you can see that if I was to click on any of these, it would link me to that particular product page. All right, so what we've done now is we've created a page to show off our list of creators. That list of creators is an object on the shop object. So I could also target this person entry, which is me. I could also go into here, where is our code editor? Right here. And let's just say I could go shop, Metaobjects, find the type of person, and then find me by my handle. So it's going to be Christopher. So I go in here, Christopher, and then I'll grab my name. So I hit save on that. We'll go over here. Now you can see Christopher, which is the value in this meta object entry, is coming through. So we can always grab whatever we need from a meta object by first finding it on shop.metaobjects. Here is all we need in order to access any value of any meta object anywhere on our system. All right. So I'll just remove that and I will continue with the next part of the demonstration here, which is to use a metafield in order to store a meta object and how we can actually access a meta object within a metafield. The most obvious example, I think, in our example of creators is maybe we want to see the creator of the collection snowboard hydrogen and the collection snowboard liquid when we're on the product pages of either of those 2 products, and we'll want to see Kanye West as the creator of that product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now create an alternative. I keep clicking over here for the editor. Let me just go into here and I will create a product template, alternative template, and I'll call this with creators. All right. So what this will do is it'll copy my current product template, which is cool for the first section, but I don't really need related products here. So I'm going to delete that part, delete related products here, and I'm going to add my own section here, creators inside here. Make sure to set the type equal to the name of the file, creators. And then I'm just going to put in an empty settings object here because this section has no settings. And then obviously I've got to add that to the order array here. So creators. Okay. I'll hit save on that. Hopefully I haven't made any mistakes there. All right, cool. This one looks like I need to hit save on as well. Maybe there were some changes there that I hadn't saved before. But anyway, we're working with product with creators.json now. And because we've created that alternative template, it says I need to save here as well. Anyway, let's go over to that product, which I mentioned before. So let's just say the collection snowboard hydrogen. We want to see that it's created by Kanye West, hydrogen. What we can do is on this product object, we can add a meta field down here in order to link the meta object entry of Kanye West. All right, so obviously we're going to have to create a meta field here. We covered meta fields in the last video, so you should be pretty familiar with doing this now if you've watched that video. So head into your settings, head into custom data, go into the product object. As you can see here, I haven't had any meta fields added to the product object yet. I'm going to put in here creators. Now I could put in creator as a singular, but I could create creators, and this allows me to add a list. Whoops, I selected the wrong thing there. Finger slipped. I can select a list of meta object entries. So let's just say a particular product was created by multiple people. There was co-creators. This allows me to have one entry or multiple entries. And you'll see an interesting feature with blocks in the customizer when using a meta object list as well. Okay, so this gives me the option to have one creator as well as a list of creators. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to hit save on that. And now that that meta field has been created, I can go over here, scroll down, and in creators, tick on whoever is the creator of that product. It's just Kanye West, so I'm going to hit save on that. And then I'm also going to change the template to with creators so that we have that creator section appear below. And then if I go to, let me click here to see that. I don't want to preview it, I want to actually just view it. If I refresh over here, hopefully that button, no, it doesn't change to view, which is strange. I can just go into here and find the collection. Let me go over to here, products, the collection snowboard hydrogen. And if I scroll down, you'll see the exact same section down below. Now, what we haven't done is have this data come from the meta field on the product object instead of just the shop object. So this is always going to list all of the creators on the shop object because we haven't updated it yet. So let me update the code now in this creators section. In order for this code to work both on the page that we've already created as well as a product page with the meta field, I'm going to create a conditional here. So first of all, I'm going to grab this value here and replace it with creators. And then up here, I'm going to assign that to creators. So creators equals and that value. So that's basically going to put this in there. Now, the reason why I've assigned it is because I'm going to put in a conditional here. So if we're not on a product page, that is exactly what it's going to be, same as before. But if the template we're on contains product, which means we're on a product template, then I'm going to reassign that variable of creators to the list that has been set in the meta field. So how do we access a meta object within a meta field? First, we got to grab the product object, go into its meta fields, then custom. So the way we know this is heading back into our meta field definitions over here. We can see the path to that meta field here. So if I was to just copy that, where's our editor? Here we go. I can just literally paste that. So there we go. And then in order to get the value, as we saw in the last video, we need to chain dot value on the end. All right. So if I hit save on that and then I refresh over here, it will only show Kanye West because he is the only creator in the list within the meta field. If I was to go back, actually, we don't need this tab anymore. If I was to go back here and let's just say it was created by two people, Michael Jordan as well, I hit save on that and then I refresh over here, you'll see we get both of these creators. And if I head back to the page, pages creators, you'll see all the meta fields. Wait, I need to refresh because I took that Christopher thing off. There you go. We'll see all the meta objects because it is referencing shop.metaobjects, which is the full list, right? But here we only get the list inside the meta field. Okay. All right, so this brings me to the final section of the video where I promised to show you how you can use a meta object list in a set of blocks within your customizer. Let me show you what I mean by that right now. So right here, what I'm gonna do is, let's just skip all the liquid for now and head down here. And after settings, let me add in a list of blocks. Within the first part here, I'll create an object, and there's only going to be one type here, so it doesn't matter what we call this. I'm just going to call this creator, and then I'm going to give this a name, a user-friendly name of creator with a capital C. And then here's where we can define our block settings by opening up a settings object here. So we're going to recreate the same fields that we had on the meta object within here as block settings. Okay. Now, one thing that I will flag here is if we head to the documentation for Shopify input settings and we search for meta object, there's no such thing as a meta object input setting, which would be handy. I think you can link a product, you can link a product list, you can link a collection. So, article, blog, you can link other objects within your store. So maybe this is coming soon in Shopify. Who knows if it's ever going to come, but just to make it clear at the time of recording, meta object is not an input setting. So what we're going to have to do is break down our fields within our meta objects into customizer input settings. All right. So as you can see here, we have a product underscore list. For the product list, we've got a text field here for the text, for the name right here. And of course, we've got an image picker field for the image. All right, so let me go back here and let me create that. So type image picker for the image, and I'm going to make the ID the same as the field name within our meta object. So it's going to be photo. The human friendly label is going to be photo. Be whatever we want it to be. Then for type in the next one, I'm going to make this text. This will be our name. So the ID will be name, label, name. Next one, type of text area, ID of bio, label of bio. And then finally, type product underscore list, ID of creator of. So we'll make it the same as the meta object, just like I've done with all the other ones above. And then we will say list of products created. We can put whatever we want in here, basically. All right, so I'll hit save on that. And unless I've made some JSON errors, it should work just fine. Okay, so now if I go over to here, let me instead loop through our blocks instead of looping through the shop object or the meta field on the product object. So I'm going to get rid of that code up there. And instead of creator in creators, I'm going to do block in section blocks. This is how we loop through section blocks in Liquid. And then instead of create a photo, actually, anytime we reference creator, I'm going to skip down here, basically all 4 of those references, and replace that with block settings, right? Because we named the settings the exact same as the field in the meta object. So that should work. And then down here, we don't actually need in a input setting to set value. That's only in a meta field, or in our last example, not technically a meta field, but a field within a meta object. Now we're referencing an input setting. We don't need to put value here. So I'll remove that. And then product URL, product featured image, and product title. We're still dealing with a product object here, so that should still work, okay? Now if I hit save on that and we go back to the product object here, you'll see that that list disappears. But now if we go into the customizer, and I thought this was interesting to show you guys, again, probably not the most practical example, but just to wrap your head around how this works with the customizer. At present, obviously this could change at any point. I'm going to go into that product template within our customizer with creators. And then after the product information section, we've got our creators section here. It has no settings, but we can add a creator, right? And where is our settings? Here we go. my screen isn't big enough to have the creators on the right here. All right, if I zoom out a little bit, hopefully you can still read. You can see we're inside one of the creators, and you can see here that we have access to dynamic linking on all of these fields except bio, which is annoying. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. If we click on this one up here, we can connect a list as a dynamic source. So remember, we created a creators list, not a creator singular field as the meta field. So if I click on here, what's interesting is it'll create a list, a repeatable block, right? And what it'll do is it'll automatically dynamically link the fields that are available. So it already knew to put photo in the photo field, it already knew to put name in the name field, and it already knew to put creator of in the creator of field, right? I don't think it's matching via name. I think it's more matching on type of values, because we basically only got one image value, one text value, one text area value or multi-line text value, and one product list value. So that's pretty cool. It's automatically, as you can see here, it looks like there's just one block, but you've got this little icon here. It almost looks like a refresh icon or a reload icon, but what it's saying is it's repeating the sections based on a list within a meta field, which is pretty cool. I did not realize this until today when I was recording this video. All right, here we can change this. So if we got it wrong and there was another single line text field in our object, we could link that instead. But the part here that's kind of annoying is that it won't dynamically link the bio. And I think that's because it doesn't like multi-line text. So if we go over here, even if we were using a single line text field, it just doesn't show up at all. So that's unfortunate. But as you can see, all the other fields, it will dynamically link, which is super interesting. I'm not going to do this in this video, but if we did just have a field with a single creator, then of course we wouldn't need a section with a list of blocks, but we could, in the exact same way, we could possibly have a creator section, create the same list of customizer inputs, and then link dynamic data from the single meta object to those customizer input settings. I'm not going to do that because it works pretty much the exact same as this, but I thought it was interesting, the whole list feature here to create repeatable blocks. Never seen this before in Shopify, and something hopefully they'll expand on and allow us to dynamically link multi-line text. But as you can see here, dynamic linking is only available on these three fields. This field, it's unfortunately not available. Hey everyone, just wanted to throw in this little extra bit here to explain that it wasn't actually the multi-line text field that was the problem. It was the input setting of text area. So dynamic linking wasn't available on text area, but if I changed my setting to rich text, then I was able to dynamically link that multi-line text field in the customizer. So that is a note there. If you do want to do something like this, you got to use rich text instead of text area for this. So that's all for today's video. If you want to learn more about Shopify development, check out the resources in the description box below, and I'll see you on the next video.